It sure has been a long time since I've talked about some vintage collection figures, hasn't it? Simply put, I've just gotten them throughout the last few months and just haven't opened them. I haven't really been in a vintage collection mood recently, so they just kind of sat in my, stuff to open for videos box, and I decided, you know what, today's the day. I need to clear this box out some. I need to start filming some of these dang videos, and this is part 1 of my vintage collection catch-up. Part 2 will be all about Imperials. But today we have Ahsoka Tano in her Peridia white Gandalf outfit. We have a classic Luke Skywalker. After so many years, Luke is back in the vintage collection, and it has been long overdue for us to get a new farm boy Luke. And we have Bo-Katan Kryze as she appeared on Pleasure 15. Yeah, it seems kind of, I don't really know why I got that one. Well, I do know why, actually. It's because it was super cheap. It went on clearance, and I was like, you know what? For like $6, give me another Bo-Katan. I don't care. It's got a Darksaber. I'll take it. All right, so let's go ahead and start opening some of these up. I guess we'll start with Ahsoka, because she's the one on the left. Yeah, her card back's looking really nice. Definitely enjoying that. The figure itself looks really good, too. I don't know if that's the packaging or what. I think it's like the packaging. But do you see that? How it looks like her lightsabers have like a weird, like a ribbed look to them? But yeah, the figure looks great. This is actually one that looked really nice carded. I like the accent color. And yeah, the back is the new/old style of TVC card back, but it's so weird how it just shows the figure and everything. I wish it was like the old ones where it showed the first release. I always really enjoyed that detail. But oh well, let's go ahead and open Ahsoka. I have a lot of people always ask me, how do you open your vintage collection figures? I've done a whole video on it, but I will show you once again, just for Ahsoka on camera. I just take a hobby knife, I cut flat on this side, and then near the edges, you have to kind of saw it a little bit, and then you reach the bottom, and it's actually a little hole down there, so you don't have to worry about cutting that. And then you always have to be mindful of the, ribbed part of the blade, not, marking the cardboard. I've done that many a time. You just kind of need to make sure it's raised up just enough. Do not do this if you are not experienced with X-Acto knives. I have built hundreds of Gundam model kits. I've opened hundreds of vintage collection figures. I'm very experienced. I will not cut myself. But going ahead and getting this all opened up, that's how you open a TVC card if you want the card to still look really, really nice when you're done. All right, and getting the figure open, it's looking really, really good. I really enjoy Rosario Dawson's portrayal as Ahsoka, and I will gladly take any figures I can get of her. I'm still on the vintage collection collecting train, even though I have kind of lost quite a bit of interest in Star Wars figure collecting, and I also don't even have all my Star Wars figures on display anymore. I'm still definitely in the hype train when it comes to collecting the figures, because I just have a lot of fun getting TVC figures. And they still are really nice, and I still enjoy them. I mean, I don't think I will ever not be a Star Wars fan in my life. I think I will probably always be a Star Wars fan. But I don't watch everything that comes out anymore. I've not watched Acolyte. I've not watched Skeleton Crew. I have not gotten any of the Acolyte figures. It's not something that really interested me. It's not an era of the universe I'm interested in. But I definitely do enjoy Ahsoka. I enjoy the post-Return of the Jedi era that is on Disney+. I think it's a really nice era, and kind of a little bit of a redemption for the sequel trilogy, if you ask me. I feel like this is what the sequels should have been. But this Ahsoka looks fantastic. That head sculpt, that's Rosario Dawson. Oh my gosh. Dude, that's perfect. I literally, at this scale, you could not do any better than this. I don't think you could do any better for a figure likeness at this scale than what I'm looking at right here. The paint is, as always, exquisite. Vintage collection is essentially on par with Black Series now, but I feel like it's even better because at the smaller scale, the details are, kind of a lost in the smaller scale, and losing some of that detail actually makes it somehow look more realistic. Basically, at this level of detail, the larger you make it, the more obvious you can tell it's just a toy. But this looks fantastic. Those lightsabers look great. Really loving the look of the hilts and everything. I love all the detail on this costume. This is my first time having a figure of this costume. It's looking great. It's looking really good. I love the look of the orange too. I think it contrasts to the costume really nice. Yeah, this is an absolute winner. Absolute winner. I am, oh dude, like I'm so impressed with TVC stuff nowadays. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why I haven't given it up, because they're still so damn good. Like, oh my gosh. All right, let's go over articulation on Ahsoka. We have a ball joint at the head, ball hinges at the shoulders, ball hinge at the elbow. Looks like just swivels at the wrists because she has dainty little girly wrists. So she doesn't have a spot for a hinge in there, I guess. Does she have a ball joint? Yes, she does. She has a ball joint at the torso, and that's moving very, very nice. Definitely loving how that's moving. Looks cool. All right. The hips are also on ball joints. I'm so happy they finally figured out how to do ball joints on TVC figures, because the ball hinges were always a little cumbersome. She has a big old thigh swivel, and I'm curious how this knee bend is going to work, because you can see it has like this sculpt over it, but it's a massive, thick hinge. So, yeah, I mean, it works, but you're going to have this massive gap. How does it look from the front? It looks okay. I definitely think it looks best from like that degree. But you can definitely tell they tried their best to disguise the knee joint given the, you know, the baggy pants and everything. It's not bad. It's just very, it's a choice. I'll say that. It's a choice. It does also have a swivel in that hinge as well. So the thigh swivel is entirely irrelevant. They did not need to put that in there. And then the ankles don't really move up, surprisingly, but they do move down. You get a little bit of tilt. So overall, another winner in the vintage collection. If you're a fan of Ahsoka, if you're a fan of the Ahsoka show, this is definitely one to get. I really enjoy it. All right, there's Ahsoka. I think we're going to flash back to the original trilogy with the poster boy himself, Luke Skywalker. All right, bringing in Luke's card back. It is looking fantastic. It is the classic Luke Skywalker card back from A New Hope. You can see it does still have the classic A New Hope style card back, and I always enjoy that they do that for A New Hope characters. It just says Star Wars. You have that nice classic artwork of Luke and Leia. The figure itself looks fantastic. I'm definitely seeing a likeness to Mark Hamill, but not the likeness to Mark Hamill in that figure, but it's Hasbro. They can never get Mark Hamill's face right. I feel like Hot Toys is the only company that can. Yeah, card back's also looking very nice. Oh, I forgot these have little bios. 19 years after the formation of the Empire, Luke Skywalker is thrust into the struggle of the Rebel Alliance on a journey that will change the galaxy. Yeah, that's correct. What did Ahsoka say? Ahsoka Tano's quest to stop Grand Admiral Thrawn brings her beyond the galaxy, once more to the world between worlds, where she gains newfound wisdom. Ooh. All right, Luke is free. All right, let's see how he turned out. So he's got a lightsaber, of course. He's got to have that nice bright blue lightsaber. I gotta say, the blue on this lightsaber is looking like really lustrous. Like it looks really good. It might be because I just opened a figure with just plain white lightsabers, but that blue is really blue. I love that. And then Farm Boy Luke here is looking fantastic as well. Little lightsaber hilt. I highly doubt I'm going to display him with that hilt. Looks like Luke has a little doohickey that goes into his side right here. I cannot remember what that's supposed to be. We can just insert that. That's looking nice. Can also insert this hilt as well. We'll do that for now, just so we can kind of see how it looks. Then yeah, here's our brand new Farm Boy Luke Vintage Collection figure. And I gotta say, this is definitely the Luke to get. I personally feel like his Farm Boy look is the most iconic look. I know some people think his Jedi robes are the most iconic. But man, it's all about that first movie for me. A New Hope is my favorite original trilogy movie. And I am loving the fact that I finally have a TVC Luke that I think looks good. It doesn't have a massive, like, soft goods robe to him. It's not that Resurgence of the Jedi multi-pack one. No, it's a nice Farm Boy Luke. Now, I do have to say, I did already comment on it. This likeness to Mark Hamill. It's there. Like, if you would show me this head, I'm like, oh, that's a Luke Skywalker head. But I think it's mostly because of the hair that I could ID that it's Luke. Other than that, I'm not seeing Mark perfectly. I'm definitely not seeing it perfectly, but it's not bad. It's not bad. The rest of the figure looks great. The tunic and everything looks good. The pants look nice. I mean, it's Luke. It's got a nice texture to the tunic as well. I don't know if you can see that. This has a very slight little texture that makes it look really nice. But yeah, it's definitely a winner. I'm definitely pretty impressed with this one. Yeah, he does have his lightsaber as well. Go ahead and have him holding that. He only ignited it just like a couple times in the movie. But I wish he would have had the training helmet. That actually would have been a nice inclusion. Since he has the lightsaber, that's pretty much the only time he really used it in the movie was when he was training. Here, we can go ahead and remove that since that makes no sense. Yeah, I will definitely display him with this lightsaber. Because to me, when I think of A New Hope Luke, I think of him just holding this aloft. Like all the posters and everything. Looking very, very cool. He does have a nice wrist hinge to facilitate that, and I really appreciate that. Both of his wrists hinge up and down, which is really, really good. I wonder if you could actually have him like hold it over his head. I don't think so. I think his tunic's kind of, yeah, it's not going to really work. No, that's not happening. But you can have him like hold it over his head with one arm if you want. If you want to do that, that looks good. All right, I'm already moving him around a little bit. Let's go over his articulation. He's got a ball joint at the head, ball hinge at the shoulder. And one thing I want to talk about, little pet peeve, a lot of people misidentify what a ball joint is. A ball joint is like your actual hip joint. Your human hip is a ball joint. It is a ball that goes into a socket. That is a ball, that is a socket. That is a ball joint. This right here, people call these ball joints. These are not ball joints. These are either ball hinges or disc hinges. Because you can see the hinge does have like a ball-like shape to it. But you can see it's on a hinge. It is a part that is hinged by the joint. It's not a ball and a socket. There is a peg and a socket for these joints. Like these rotations, these are the peg that goes into the socket, but it's not a ball. If this peg was a ball, like a McFarlane shoulder joint, then yeah, it would still be ball jointed. But these are either ball hinges or disc hinges. He also has a ball hinge at the elbow, has a ball hinge at the wrist, has a ball joint at the torso, which moves pretty decently. It's got a little bit of tilt here and there. Wish it had a little bit more crunch, but it moves back a little bit as well. I'm sure he's got ball joints at the hips. Yes, he does. Seems like his soft goods is going to move out of the way sufficiently for that. So if you need to have him sitting in a land speeder or something, he's good for it. Thigh swivel, which again is pretty irrelevant given the fact that he has a ball hinge at the knee that also swivels. So I know some people are like, oh, I wish I had a thigh swivel. This is your swivel. It moves the exact same. It functions exactly the same. And then his ankle will actually move up a little bit, down and side to side. So yeah, this Luke's a winner. Absolute winner. So happy to finally have a Luke that is up to date, up to standard. It's crazy to think that in just 2 years, Star Wars will be 50 years old. But after nearly 50 years, we finally have a 3 3/4 inch Luke that I can say feels pretty definitive. Head sculpt could be a bit better, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with this one. All right, and that leaves the least exciting, at least for me, until last. That is Bo-Katan Kryze or Kryze, I don't remember. From Plaza 15. I feel like that name is just, that's a Star Trek planet name, bro. That ain't a Star Wars name. Plaza 15. I don't even remember what Plaza 15 was, dude. I don't know. Season 3 was kind of whatever. The figure itself, the main difference is that she has the Beskar shoulder pad and the Darksaber. That is essentially what you're getting here. You're getting this figure for the shoulder pad and the Darksaber. That's why you're getting it. After Bo-Katan saves Din Djarin from a cyborg in the mines of Mandalore, he determines the Darksaber should be returned to her as the rightful owner. Cool. All right. Decent card back. It's looking nice. All right. I am going to go ahead and open it up. All right. Bo-Katan's all opened up. We can set her card back to the back. And the figure itself is Bo-Katan. One thing I hate about the modern vintage collection opening experience is the stupid pamphlet that falls out. I hate this so much. It's just another piece of trash to deal with. All right, getting the figure out. Yeah, she's got that. She got that Beskar shoulder pad. Whoa, she got that Beskar. Her face looks nice. definitely looks good. I mean, that's definitely the actress for sure. Now, even though I didn't really do comparisons for the other ones, I do actually have my original Bo-Katan on hand. So we can see, yeah, looking pretty similar. I can tell the detail on the chest is actually different. They actually changed the chest armor. Looks like they changed the belt a little bit. The legs, seems like the shade of blue is slightly different, a little brighter on the new one. But other than that, not too different. Symbol on the shoulder pad looks a little different. Arm paint's different. There's actually a lot of differences in the paint, which is very interesting. I wonder how different the helmet is. The heads seem pretty similar, except this one has a darker gunmetal for the little headband. Since this is, the Beskar shoulder, and she has the dark saber, I feel like this one is best suited to always have the helmet on, because this can kind of represent when she was a little bit more of a firm follower of the ways. All right. I got all the accessories out and everything. We can go ahead and put her little pistols in her holsters, because this version of Bo-Katan needs to have that darksaber, because she is the leader of the Mandalorian people once more. Oh my gosh, Elbow, please bend. Why are we not bending? Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, there we go. Oh my gosh. Yeah, giving her this darksaber. Yeah, that's looking good. I feel like the darksaber is supposed to have the cackling, though, isn't it? Like, wasn't there a Vintage Collection darksaber that had that little, like, cackling detail, or am I just going crazy? Because this one's all kind of flat. That's kind of disappointing. I wonder how different the helmet is. Looking at this helmet next to the original helmet. I do think I filled out the visor on the original one, since it wasn't filled out all the way. Seems like the paint's pretty similar between them. I actually feel like my old helmet looks better. It's got some more, like, scuffing and everything. A little bit more battle damage. Yeah, I definitely think the old helmet is the better helmet. I'm probably, when I end up displaying it, I'm going to display this figure with the old helmet. That's probably what I'm going to... That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. My tongue stopped working there for a second. But yeah, I mean, it's Bo-Katan. Seems pretty fine. Again, she's got that little shoulder pad. Articulation on Bo-Katan, we've already reviewed Bo-Katan, so I don't really have to go over it in too much detail. She does actually have hinges in the wrist this time around. Funny, given how Ahsoka did not. She does have a nice ball joint right there. It's a great mold. The TVC Bo-Katan is a great mold. I'm very happy that it's back out there for people who missed out on it the first time around. But it is interesting that this figure got clearanced pretty quick and pretty heavy. This one and that Jetpack Mando. I didn't even get that Jetpack Mando. I was like, it's way too scene specific. I really don't need that. So I skipped on that. But yeah, you can still move the little rangefinder and everything. Definitely a nice little Bo-Katan. I don't feel like I have too much to say on this one. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it. That's going to conclude my little Vintage Collection catch-up for this episode. We have Ahsoka, Luke, and a Bo-Katan. Out of all three of these, I think the best figure is the Ahsoka. The Ahsoka is essentially flawless. One of the only issues with it is the weird knee joints, but even then, that's kind of just if it bugs you. And for me, it doesn't really bug me that much. My favorite out of these is the Luke, for sure. Then again, I'm very biased towards A New Hope. I'm a huge A New Hope fan, so I love that Luke. The Bo-Katan, if you have the original, you don't need this one. Not unless you really want that shoulder pad and everything. The reason why I got this is because I'm, thinking I might end up doing like a Mandalorian tribe diorama someday. And this is the Bo-Katan that would fit in with that since she has the shoulder pad and everything. But yeah, let me know what you think about these down in the comments below. I think Vintage Collection is still rolling pretty strong. I don't get everything they put out anymore. I am definitely not TVC completist like I once was. There's just so much that comes out that I absolutely do not care about, especially when it comes to some of the Disney Plus stuff. Like even if I watch the Skeleton Crew show and like it, I can guarantee you would never be able to get me to get those toys of the kids. If they do them in TVC, I do not need action figures of little kids like that. I would rather die than spend $18 on a tiny little toy of a kid that I just do not care about. I don't know how you Black Series collectors have done it at $25. Imagine, like, seriously, if a Wookiee is like just an inch or two taller than a standard figure, and you make that a deluxe, why don't you make a figure that's an inch or two shorter, like a smaller size scale? I know, Greed. They want the money. Anyways, I'm done rambling. Let me know what you think about these figures again down in the comments below. Special shout out to channel members as always. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.